What up, Naughty Steppers? It's Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel. And it is time for another first as I give you my top 10 favourite SKRILLEX tracks of all time. This is the first in a new series where I will be covering my top 10s of producers, labels, certain genres, all of which is completely subjective, a reflection on my personal taste and experience. And what better way to start on a dark electronic music channel than with the modern dubstep godfather, SKRILLEX. 8-time Grammy winner, owner of Owsla Records, pioneer of the brostep movement, creator of one album and multiple game-changing EPs, within which there have been a boatload of very impactful tracks. My favourite 10 I will be listing here. Important thing to note here is that this means any track that SKRILLEX has his name on and has had an official release. So originals, remixes, collaborations can't be tracks that he's produced for other musicians or unreleased stuff. So yeah, my top 10 favourite SKRILLEX tracks of all time. Let's go. And coming in at number 10, we have a blast from the past, one of my early SKRILLEX favourites, Scatter. I love the organ synths that dance throughout this track, giving it this freakish horror film sort of feel. Foreign Beggar's vocal feature captures the earthy and snappy essence of the instrumental very well. The dubstep is hellish and guttural, hasn't aged massively well, which stops it being higher for me, but an undoubted top 10 with help from Bare Noise, lest we forget, a top draw collaboration on several fronts. Next we have one of my favourites from his More Monsters and Sprites EP, and that's Roughneck Full Flex. This is simple, clean, gritty, high-pitched dubstep, great energy and mix of moods here, containing what I would say is his best riff or main lead ever. Pure poetry in its direction, just has you from the first second to the last. Clarity of sound is also crazy good, properly riveting tune. Following that, at number 8, it's time for another Foreign Beggars collab. You guessed it, it's Still Getting It. I love the contrast between different sections in this track, from the pure joyous and feel-good to the outright monstrous. The dubstep is full of flavour and ridiculously varied, really gets you in the gut in all its forms, tempo changes too. Just such a crazy song, so much life and personality to it. Fills me with heaps of dark happiness every time I hear it. Yo, 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 yo. At number 7, we have the first remix on this list, his first collaboration with Nero, and that's of their track Promises. In terms of energy surging within you, nothing compares with this track on this list. It verges on the epic from the off. They stop time in the intro, blow you away with the dubstep, so it's both reflective and uncontrollable. Mad mix of moods here. Points where it drags ever so slightly, but overall fully star-studded stuff. A mesmeric collaboration. I talked about incredible riffs earlier, and at number 6 we have another one of those in the song that changed everything, Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. Comparatively, I find this one to be a more rounded track than Roughneck Full Flex in terms of the integration of different sections and emotions. Another where the dubstep hasn't aged incredibly well, but it was revolutionary and I love it for that, the raw and organic feel of it. A track that moves me as much as it wows me. Rare that happens, will always have a special place in bass music and my heart. Coming in at number 5, we have my favourite from his debut album Recess, the momentous opener, All Is Fair, In Love and Brostep. This is just full pelt SKRILLEX when everyone thought that his heavy side was gone for good. Incorporating so many different elements, themes and diversions fantastically into one cohesive number, complemented near perfectly by the raspy, soulful Ragga Twins vocals. It is just such a fantastic introduction to an album, and it deserves more credit for that. Following on from that, at number 4, we have the collab that no one saw coming and no one knew they needed. It's the remix of Ragabomb alongside Zomboy. This is a stunning collaboration, the ideas are brilliant, the energy and tension is maddening from the off and never lets up. The way it mutates and evolves over the course of the track is expertly executed and difficult to tear yourself away from. Two huge bass musicians working together, something you rarely see, which we must be grateful for, especially considering what happened regarding Terror Squad and All Is Fair in Love and Brostep. Breaking into the top 3 and taking the bronze medal, we have my favourite from the More Monsters and Sprites EP, and that's First of the Year. This is Skrillex at his most creative in my opinion. This stands as his best concept for an overall song in my eyes. The quirky intro, bellowing dubstep, wild progressions, blissful outro, this tune really has got everything. Heard the original prior to release, which unfortunately spoiled the track a little in terms of what I expected, but I still absolutely love this track. As I said, incredibly creative and brings so much together so well. Pure dubstep art. In second place, it's another collab, and one that might surprise you seeing as it's another remix, and that's the Nero collaboration take on Icy Monsters Holding On. This is Skrillex at his most euphoric for me, with a bit of help from British duo Nero to boot. For what it is, this track just excels on all fronts, from intros to builds to drops, the transitions between them, everything. A humongous track, but still so ridiculously clean. Delivery is absolutely spot on from beginning to end. Pure scintillating hype. Drum and bass isn't for many in America, but this should be your starting point to get into it. A truly magical composition. And just before I reveal my number 1, I'm gonna go over some special mentions that I love from Skrillex, but which aren't quite top 10 material. Summit is Skrillex's music at its most vulnerable, especially pertinent with his ex Ellie Goulding on the vocals. A beautiful song. Right In, my undoubted favourite from the Bangarang EP. Love the sheer vibrancy and helter-skelter feel of it, but definitely short of being at the very top. Fuck That is easily in my top 2 or 3 from his Recess album. Such a juicy track. Both drops fantastic and completely different, but not quite top tier. Dirty Vibe, the precursor to Jack U, and in my opinion better than any Jack U song. Just much prefer the first half here to the second. Stranger, another great experiment on the Recess album, and one of his most underrated songs in my opinion. Brilliantly cheeky and adventurous. Rock and Roll, one of his most electrifying tracks, incredible energy and emotion to it, but certainly rough around the edges in comparison to other hits of his. Make It Bundem, another brilliant collaboration, a pretty much perfect bringing together of their two styles, very neat and tidy, just not epic. And lastly, his remix of Levels by Avicii. This is quite clearly a great remix, exactly what you would expect from it, but not on the level of the others already mentioned here. But my favourite Skrillex track of all time is an original, just about above the rest, and that's the colossal Reptile theme. Or Reptiles theme, or just Reptile, whatever you want to call it. Some dispute over whether this track is an official one, but I mean, you can buy it on iTunes, so... The flow and rhythm of this beastly swaggering monster is just unreal. For me, Skrillex's best composition, the song of his that I would say is the least flawed, which is why it's in this position. Everything works together so effectively for it to repeatedly have the impact it has. But yeah, just gets me going like no other Skrillex track, and I doubt any other will into the future and beyond. And so there we have it guys, my top 10 favourite Skrillex tracks of all time. Thank you very much, and as always, for tuning in. Which Skrillex tracks are your favourites of all time? Any that I missed out here? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hitting the notification bell along the way. Nawtystep is all about coverage of bass music across a wide variety of genres, from EP and album reviews to top 5s and top 10s, rave footage, opinion pieces, and more. So again, if that's something that interests you, then consider subscribing. For some other Skrillex related videos on the channel, check out the link next to my head somewhere. If you're not following Nawtystep across social media yet, links to all of those are in the description box down below. And lastly, if it's naughty, then you know guys, so be sure as always to keep it naughty and stay safe. And I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace out.